This next question comes from Michael, and Michael says, if you were in my field of business, how would you go about getting leads or mainly new customers? Background is he has an air conditioning refrigeration company servicing restaurants. Okay, this one, I would probably have a multi-pronged sales and marketing program going if I was in that line of work. I would be advertising in the publications in which restaurants subscribe to, restaurant managers and restaurant owners would subscribe to. It really also depends on whether or not you're calling after chain restaurants or mom and pop restaurants, like single location owner restaurants, because those are different. Chain restaurants will probably have some sort of strategic buying program and approved vendor list. I would call those corporate chains and find out what I would need to do to get on their preferred or approved vendor list. Usually by getting involved in the chains like that, and I have experience with this doing business with hotels, is you get a list of all of their hotels and contact information, or restaurants and contact information, and that's really cool because that helps you with your lead list. If you're calling on mom and pop restaurants, you know, it's one of the things that's really important in business is to understand our customers and their buying habits really, really strong. You know, in the branding section of the resource center in the portal, there is a document on buyer persona. That document is an exercise, and it wasn't that particular document, but when I was starting my company, I went through an exercise in a workshop where we had to figure out who our ideal client was and what makes them buy, what goes into the buying decision, what are they looking for? And I had to survey a bunch of my customers in order to get that information. And I'll tell you, it changed my life as it related to knowing how to get out there and sell to my customers. Now, in that world of restaurants, which I've done some business with as well, it's a lot of times it's just walking into the location and finding out who the general manager is and what their particular hours are when they take meetings. That's the most important thing. You don't want to walk in, obviously, during prime time lunch or dinner, probably sometime early in the morning when they're there prep cooking. A lot of the owner-operated people are going to be there prep cooking in the morning, doing inventory, so that's when they're going to be there uninterrupted from customers. Find out when your customer's there that you can call on. And I would just go in face to face. I would get in my car and be driving around. I would have a business card and a little flyer or brochure or something, and I would hand it out and say, hey, listen, I would walk in with a good script, and I'm just paraphrasing now, but I'd be like, you know, I'm looking for the general manager. Oh yeah, that's me. Hey John, my name's Michael Plyley. Don't want to take up a lot of your time, so I'm just stepping in here, but I'm an air refrigeration company here locally, and I'm looking to build some relationships with different restaurants that might need my services in the future. I'd like to give you my card and see if maybe I could set up a time to come back and meet with you and get to know you a little bit and just develop a relationship. Whether or not you need my services right now or not, I'd like to develop a relationship so when you do need my services, you know, you'll have the person to call. When would be a good time? You know, Tuesday or Thursday. And I would just do that all day long. That's just pounding the pavement. That's called lead generation, prospecting. And for restaurants, face-to-face works really, really well. Restaurants and hotels were the same way. They get so many people, lazy salespeople calling just on the phone, that when someone comes in face-to-face, man, they really kind of like that attention. You know, they're in the service industry, so they love extra service. But I would do that, Michael. I would go through the buyer persona, find out what really makes your buyers tick, talk to some of your previous customers, find out, are there any publications that they get? See if you can advertise in those popular publications and have a good marketing program going in the publications by doing advertising. And, you know, Nick talks about this a lot. He has a certain amount of ad spend that he spends every month. And it takes time for that traction of those ads to be in front of somebody. Your brand, it's called brand awareness, until somebody just starts picking up the phone and calling. And then I would have the other approach, which is going out there and calling on restaurants. Whether you're going to call on the phone or whether you're going to go face to face, it's a numbers game. It is a complete numbers game. And if you don't like to pick up the phone and be on the phone 8 hours a day prospecting and trying to set up appointments and do those things, get somebody that does, because that's really the only way to get out there and make sales. That way you have both approaches going. You have advertising going, which will do the work for you and get the leads coming in, hopefully. And you just keep tweaking it to figure out which publications have the best return on investment for you, and just try a few. And there's certain things that you can do. Like in one ad, you might say, give us a call, and for 15% off, say child. Weird thing that just popped in my head. But another one, you might say bicycle. And each ad has its own code, so you know which ad they're calling in from. Or even set up different phone numbers for them to call, and use a telephone system that you know which phones are ringing, and you know which ad that's coming from. There's all kinds of ways to do stuff like that. But that's what I would do. I would advertise, and I would just get in my car and I would start driving around in the whole area, and I would start building relationships. Those relationships over time will get people calling. Okay? Hope that helps, man.